Welcome to CGTN's live streaming. I'm CGTN correspondent Zhou Jiaxin, now standing in one of, I would say, famous square in central China's Hubei, Wuhan's Huazhong University Science Technology, which is short for, which is also called HUST, because now the square, which is called Einstein Square, is becoming the hot topic on China's microblog social media, Weibo, because the new semester now kicks off, and many university students are coming back to this, I would say, China's one of the safest city, which was actually hard hit by coronavirus. Now they're returning to campus, and the priority for most of the students here is to air their quilts, which actually was hidden in their dormitory for over 8 months. And today, actually, we're going to one of the canteen on the campus, and I'd like to invite the HUST students who was the graduate school of foreign language, but now she has new identity as the postgraduate of the School of Economics, whose name is Liu Manshou. I can call her Coco. Welcome to join us. So Coco, say hello to our international audiences.
Hi, I'm Coco, and one correction that I just graduated from an undergraduate, and now I'm a graduate student in the School of Economics. Yeah.
Sure. So you can also watch our show, watch our live streaming on CGTN's other social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and also our apps. And we mentioned that this has become one of the most popular videos on social media. And tell us a bit more about what was the situation in this square before the August when it became a kind of like hot spot places on social media.
Yeah, as we can see, it's a kind of memorial square for Einstein, but now it turns out to be a Einstein's Confidence Square.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a common thing that we sun all the comforters and sheets here. Normally we sun our comforters during the back-to-school season, which is now, the September, but yeah, I think it's a kind of tradition which affected by the southerners or southern universities.
But what kind of venues it looked like before? I mean, actually, most of the students would come here for what, or what would they do here?
Normally, we do some leisure activities here, like skateboarding, practicing dancing and singing here. And I used to practice skateboard here with my friends. Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah.
So I mean, when most of the HUST students check out the videos on social media, even for those graduates, actually, I think this is really a strong message that everybody is coming back, right? So I think one of the priorities for them is to air the quilts. But another thing that we are going to is one of the nearby canteen, which I believe that canteen is a kind of must-go place for most of the students coming back. And tell us a bit more about, over the past month that you were not in Wuhan, but actually when you left, what was your observation about the campus, also about the city that you've been here for over 4 years?
Yeah, actually, I left Wuhan for my winter vacation on January 11th, and yeah, and we know that the outbreak of the pandemic was on January 23rd, and the lockdown was implemented on January 23rd too. So I left before the outbreak, and by accident I took the train to go home, and the train station was Hankou railway station. It was very close to the seafood market. But I didn't see any people wearing medical masks at that time, because maybe before the outbreak. Luckily, there were no cases found in the train I took in the later checklist.
For our international audiences, lockdown in Wuhan began on January 23rd. Then the outbound or inbound travel transportation was shut down. And then Hankou was the first, actually, the railway station to witness this historic moments. And I think most of the students here in Wuhan University were just told to leave, actually. It was also their winter vacation, right? So, but then after 11 weeks of lockdown, on April 8th, Wuhan lifted its lockdown. And when you heard that it was lifted, what was your reaction? Because you believe that you can come back to maybe to join the commencement ceremony or what?
Actually, I was very relieved at the first when I heard the news. But the epidemic was hard training and frustrating. But after all the people in Wuhan struggle and fight against the pandemic, we finally kind of control it. And I was happy to hear the news, but also at the same time I feel kind of ashamed that I was not there to stay with them and help them.
I think because I think it's a common sense that before then actually you did not realize how serious it was, because actually I think most of the people here didn't realize until I think the government announced that, or our health officials, our health authorities announced that it is not advised to travel to Wuhan or leave Wuhan. So, but actually, I mean, you were back then after the lifting of the lockdown, and then you come back for what? Or join the commencement ceremony of your university?
Yeah, I came back to Wuhan on June maybe 10th or 11th not for the graduation ceremony, but just went back to school and packed up my stuff and just went away. It's actually a graduation season full of pities, but I was still very happy and
sure.
relieved to come back to school and to kind of fulfill my ritual thing about the graduation.
Yeah, mostly in China, for most of the graduates, actually the July and June, late June or early July would be the graduation season. And for this year, because of the epidemic, actually, many students cannot make their way to their campus to join the commencement ceremony. So many online ceremonies were held, actually. So you were among them, right? You joined the online. But actually, I mean, there must be some disappointment that you cannot get together with your classmates, meeting with your teachers and say goodbye with everything here on campus. What is your disappointment then, and what kind of things that you promised back then you promised to do with your classmates or roommates or teachers?
Yeah, definitely there are a lot, and I was supposed to meet with all my friends and to have a graduation ceremony, have my tassel turned, but unlikely I just went back to school and packed up my stuff, but luckily we held the online graduation ceremony, and as for every single school, we also held our individual graduation party online. Yeah, and that was really fun.
Yeah. When I came to HUST, or Huazhong University Science Center, I realized it is really huge. And the road that we're now walking is not quite a big scene of the campus, but actually I think you can just introduce to our international audiences one of the most impressed, or just name 2 or 3 places that when you came back to school as a new identity, where would you plan to go, or just give us an idea of that?
Speaking
iconic places of the campus.
Okay, speaking of the most impressive kind of spot or sculpture, I think sculpture I remember is the
Other than Einstein, yeah.
Yeah, other than Einstein, yeah, and other than great man.
Okay, yeah.
It's a triangle pyramid, and there's a ball on top of it. Actually, we hustlers often make fun of it. Okay. Yeah, hustlers.
So, if the ceremony would be held for many graduates, of course, they will go there to take pictures.
Yeah,
because
yes.
Okay. So, and we also know that now, other than disappointment, you are back as a postgraduate. So this formula, as you say, you could fulfill. And when you know that you can come back as a new one, as a new identity on this campus, what is your reaction, and what kind of things that you have been preparing yourself for?
I just did my registration yesterday, and I just cannot wait to see my new classmates, new teachers, and embrace my new college life after
Everything
8 months.
new.
Yeah, but the important thing is that after 8 months long,
Yes.
and everything is back on track. And I think the most exciting thing that I expect is it's very simple. Just they're very simple. Just live like a normal people, normal students, and going to the canteen normally.
Yeah.
Maybe
We're heading
with
to the
or-
canteen actually.
Yeah.
Talking about difference from what you have experienced back in the undergraduate period, what kind of things that you expect, or what kind of things you would understand that could be different from what you had?
You mean the?
You mean
campus
what kind of new things that you have to adjust yourself to for the new semester?
I think as a graduate, or maybe in the future a postgraduate, I'm a kind of a senior here, and I come back and with a new with an up level identity, and I feel like I shoulder more responsibilities to maybe.
So
take.
if you look at that direction, because Hust is also considered as one of the forestry university, and we would not go that far, but you can see now the time is 11:30 Beijing time. So we expect more and more students are coming to the canteen that we're going to visit, and you can see that more and more students are coming back for the new semester. And for the new students, which is the first grade, or we can say sophomore. The first year student would be, the freshman would be coming to the campus on October 17th. But for other students, actually, they would have the opening of the new semester ceremony, like in this week or next week.
This week.
So I think most of the students are already coming back, right?
Yeah, most of the seniors.
So, talking about the freshmen, we also know that because Wuhan this year experienced really a different, history. I think the city has witnessed a different history, and Wuhan has been, the HUST, the Huazhong University of Science and Technology, also considered as one of the top university leading the central China's, the regional's medical development, because we know that back in 2000, and the university emerged the Tongji University, which is actually had played a big role sending a lot of talents, medical talents, to help with the city's recovery. And I also heard that one of the freshmen to register HUST, his mother is also the assisted with the as the health workers assist with the city over the past 4 months. And actually, we're heading to the canteen, and we expect more and more students are coming. And we wanted to let you know what it's like in one of the central China's biggest university, and then we will go there now. So I think for you, actually, the new semester could means a different lifestyle, but for canteen, actually, there could be no difference for you because you have been so familiar with this, with dishes here, with even with the chef or whatever.
But one thing I want to mention is that there is some new thing, like the sink to for students to wash their hands before.
Do the disinfection.
Yeah, and maybe the temperature detect device. Too.
So I also saw that is the health code must be scanned before you enter now, or maybe not?
Yeah, we have to scan the QR code for health.
Okay.
But most of the people have done it.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to say the campus is still like closed management. The public is not allowed if it is not necessary. I mean, and non-essential entry would be happening in this campus. I think this is quite popular across the country because as far as I'm concerned, my university in Beijing is also not available to the public. So the public would not have any access to the university. And this canteen has two stories, and the first story I think is mostly for the breakfast. So we wanted to go to the second story there. Okay. So I know this university is really big. So I think most of the students would choose those canteen nearby their dormitory. So do you visit this canteen quite often?
Yes, definitely. My dormitory is just
What is your favorite floor?
Yeah, the second floor for lunch. Definitely.
So you must know what are we going to eat today, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are. Do you think this is a kind of popular crossing here? Because I can see many students here because they're back, and then I think this. I think most of the boys must come here because there is the playground for them to enjoy the time here. So, do you think this is most a popular one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's come in. Yeah. Okay. So here we are. So actually, we're now in one of the Huazhong University of Science Technologies canteen, and now the time is after 11:30. We expect more and more students here. We can see a lot of dishes there now. So you want to introduce to us some of your, maybe you can introduce this canteen to us.
These are kind of breakfast, like we have some fried dumplings and some omelets. And different types of breakfast are also symbols of Wuhan.
Okay, so we can see there are a lot of dishes here, and fishes and different meat here. I think this provides a lot of choices for our students. And we can also see there, this card is saying that anti-food waste, which is actually popular because I think as China is making its anti-food waste campaign, which is quite popular among many young generations because wow. So I think this reminds me of many half-dish plan in many campuses because they believe that the young generation would have little awareness of how to save the food. What is your thoughts about that?
As we can see, we have each kind of window we have a slogan or have a plate to remind the students that we have to save food or to alert us to
Yes, actually as mentioned, because many of us would not have this awareness because China is not just a big supplier of food. It is also one of the biggest exporter of food to the world. But actually, as far as I'm concerned, that we wanted to meet the UN Agenda 2030, which is zero hungry. I just want to don't stay here for long because we have more students to come, so we wanted to move. And so the UN Agenda 2030 reminds us there would be no zero hunger, but actually, according to the statistics in 2019, there would be about 700 million people are still estimated to be undernourished. So this is not just a nearby crisis, but it is just as President Xi said, we have to maintain the sense of crisis over the food security. So this is kind of like a boiled food for many students. Yeah, this is. I think I can find many. I think I can find many favorite noodles here, not just the local hot dry food here, not dry noodles here, but also some other famous noodles in different places. So we can also see a lot of snacks here. Our students are already in line. So I think later on I can just have an interview with any student because now they're in a line. I would not just disrupt them. I would ask the student. Okay, 同学，可以采访一下你吗？问一下，您是大几的还是？大三嘛。Oh, so this student is from 什么专业的？
生物制药。
Oh, so biochemistry or biotech? Biotech, right? So when did you return to campus?
前天。
然后回来之后，最想来的食堂还是什么的？有没有特别想吃的菜？
没有什么的，热干面。
热干面。
对。
因为你是哪里人？
我是湖北人。
湖北人。
对。
So this student is from Hubei, and of course, 谢谢你啊，谢谢你。One of his favorite dishes that he came back to university is about the hot, dry noodles, which is actually famous here in Hubei province. So, most when you come to this canteen or second floor, what kind of dishes you want to have?
Like like the rice and some dumplings, because I think these canteens dumplings are really good, and maybe some types of meat like the meatballs.
But I can tell from some dishes it is not just the famous, the local famous one. It is also the famous one across the country, actually. Yeah. So I'm kind of like familiar with this one. It is a rice bowl, but within it we can have the meatloaf, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, quite a lot of choices that I cannot know what could I eat for this lunch. So, do you know when we start running or start operating the canteen for the students? Because we know that during the epidemic, actually, social distancing is required, and masks are required, and also actually, for this canteen, it could not be open. But when did it start running? Do you know?
It started when I came back to school on June, and then it started on August 26th, and after the students are coming back to school to have a new semester.
So I know that many campuses are now just are opening their restaurants. But for most of the students, are they advised to go out, or are they just advised to stay on campus?
So basically, they are advised to stay in the campus and have their meals in the canteen. And yeah, and maybe we can order the takeout from the canteen.
Oh, you can order the takeout.
Yeah.
So the staff for the canteen would send us food to you. It's quite convenient.
Yeah.
What about the price? What about the price? Is there any change, or is there any, because I think maybe students are not that much, because we would have more and more students, and then they would adjust the amount of the food. What about the price? Is there any change?
Actually, there's no change in the price, in price, and I feel kind of happy and relieved that the food and the quality and the amount of food are both ensured to maybe to offer all the students coming back after a very long time.
Okay. So, since we're here arrived, and we've seen a lot of dishes, let's just go out to see more and more students dining themselves here. I know that also one issue is, wait a second. So, according to your experience, is that scene familiar, or mostly when you come here, you would see more students here?
Yeah, definitely. There are basically at noon and the lunchtime. There are full of people, full of students here. But as you can see, there are just a number of students just sit separately.
Okay.
In the
So one interesting thing that you can tell is that we have more boys than girls. Why?
Our university, as the name tells, that we are a science and technology university. So this is maybe basically the reason. But I have to claim that there are a number of girls in our university, but it's sunny outside, and we girls are not very willing to go outside to eat in the canteen. So we just pack up stuff and back to our dormitories to have lunch.
So I know that for this semester, actually, many students are still preparing examinations that they missed in the last semester. So that's the reason why we also check the news that other than airing the quilts, actually many students would occupy the library. I think for this new semester, actually, many students would begin the new semester with a load of study. What about you? Would you be relieved or more relieved than them?
Me may be more relieved than them. More relieved,
But you are on a different track because you learn English, but now you're turning to the economics. How about that?
It's a big challenge for me, but I think it would be exciting and full of uncertainties. Yeah, I think that's great.
Another issue is that because I think for most of the Wuhan University students, college students, it is also a challenging issue for many graduates this year, because you graduate this year, and I think it is not every one of your classmates who choose to further study or as the postgraduate. Maybe someone apply the overseas studies or foreign universities. What about their career now, or do you understand that they have those kind of difficulties in the job market?
Yeah, one of my roommates found a job in Beijing, and now she is living in Beijing and doing her work. And one of my best friends, she received the offer from Columbia University, and she didn't reject it, and she chose to have the classes online. She stayed up very late to get used to the American time.
So you mean that she will continue her online classes as a Columbia student, university student. Okay. So still there are a lot of uncertainties about her study there, and she would not be notified until I think the pandemic in the U.S. would be under control, right? So good luck to her. And now I think it's time for us to choose some favorite dishes that Coco can recommend to us. And I think live streaming here would be over. And for our international audiences just tune in, we're now in central China's Wuhan, which was the hardest hit city during the epidemic COVID-19 disaster, actually. But now, as we just broadcast to you, Many students on campus are now coming back. They air their quilts. They come back to meet their appetites for their favorite dishes on campus, as you can see. And everything is back. And new semester is full of challenges as well for Coco, actually. She's now in a new school. And so for her many classmates who graduate this year, they have their new futures, no matter it is at home or overseas. So I hope the pandemic with the international cooperation could be over as soon as possible. And we are going to head to our favorite dishes. And you can also check the replay on our CGTN social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Chinese microblog social media, Weibo. And now the live streaming is over. I wish you have a bon appetit. And for our international audiences, you have a good night. Thank you.